Hello from Bali! This is our Bali holiday with the board games that we are able to carry to Bali and back to Melbourne.
Yes, we did bring a few, mostly Essen pickups, and it's a good thing we did as well because I wasn't at full health through our whole journey. I did fall ill for a couple of days, so it gave us something that we could do, which was great.
We kind of like isolating in the room because we don't want to contract my parents. But anyways, I am Stella and this is Tarrant from Meeple University. Today we are going to talk about these games and about our Bali holiday.
Yes.
And how's everyone? Hopefully you have a great day. Whether you're playing board games or doing chores, make sure you do something fun. We're going to talk about...
Those are two very different options.
Very different options, but yet they are realistic options. Like us, this is like
That's true.
our holiday in my parents' house. So we have a few games that we are going to show you. We've played most of these.
Yes.
There's one that we haven't played, which is General Orders. The only one that we haven't played. So you can see that there are a few of these are 2 players, a couple that are live stream over the weekend with my lovely nieces, Claire, aka Noni, and Kayla, and with Karen, which is this hidden here, the Azul Mini.
Azul Mini.
So let's talk about this Azul Mini and we talk about our holiday as well in between. So this is the one that we streamed last weekend and this is the mini version of Azul. The rules is exactly the same.
Yes, this is essentially a travel version of basic Azul. It's not magnetic like your standard travel edition, but it is. It's smaller. It's got this board and all of the tiles. If I bring them out, hopefully you can.
It's very tiny. That's all right. We had the stream thing. If you are interested in see the playthrough, it's tiny. It's got a bit of a dent underneath.
A little bit of a dent, and these have. Dentable things, so you can tilt them a reasonable amount before they fall off.
Yes, and this is a bit of a high risk video, by the way, because we are on the side of the pool. You can see all the way is full. The camera is right there, the microphone's right there. So if the wind's too strong, I think it's going to collapse that way.
Yes, and if all the games fall in, then we'll be very sad.
And then if one of the tiles can be, this is high risk. How about if we put tile here and then we're going to just like tip it over the pool, see if it's falling?
Not that high risk.
No.
And this is also the travel case for the factory tiles.
It's really fun. Yeah, it's really fun. And look at this thing. It comes in a box, but I left the box behind. I just get the bag with me and then just carry it like so.
This is quite effective as a travel Azul, so good job. You
Yeah.
don't see the travel versions of I mean, I guess Azul is mass market these days, but began its life in the hobby world, and you don't see that many travel versions of hobby games. So
is there a travel version of Monopoly?
I'm sure there is. You don't see it as often because it's got so much stuff involved, though. So.
Yeah, and then the snake and ladder is pretty much travel version, right? Just like fold it and you
have a little
carry
magnetic bag, and there's travel Yahtzee and things like that.
That's right, and Uno is basically travel.
It's a card, yes, deck of cards.
Yes, but this is like a different thing. There's like a full version of the board game, and there's the travel version, which is a bit smaller. Yes. This is hot, by the way.
It's a bit warm out here.
I was like, oh. Nightmares Sushi. Sorry, the Nightmares of Sushi. I picked this up at Assenspiel as well. This is kind of like a party game place. I mean, it's like up to 6 players actually.
Yep. It's a little simultaneous. It's kind of a simultaneous card play game. So you've got your hand that lasts you through the game, and you burn one of the cards randomly, and then you play a card face down. Everyone picks a card from someone else. And depending on, you're kind of bluffing. You've got to do some talking and bluffing in it. There are good sushi and bad sushi, and if you pick someone else's good sushi, you get points. If you pick someone else's bad sushi, you get negative points.
Right.
If nobody chooses yours, then you have to eat it and get the positive or negative points that come with it. And there's a twist in there where you can win the game by maxing out your negative point track.
This one.
Yes.
So if you think you're not gonna get the good points, like, oh no, we might as well just get negative and then win that way instantly.
Yep. It's very quick. It's only a 4-round game.
Yes.
I think you really have to play it with active bluffing and talking.
Yes,
Otherwise, it's just it's very short and very random if you don't do that. So active bluffing and active communication and baiting, kind of like coup, is really the way to play this one. Otherwise, it's really not gonna feel like very much.
I definitely agree, because then when you have your sushi face down and then you try to get opponents to choose this, oh, this is a really good sushi, get my sushi, definitely, because and then you can also kind of see what has been played in the previous rounds. I'm like, oh, okay, deduce it, like it might be this one, might be that one, so you pick the right, try to pick the right one. So number one, has to bluff a lot, kind of like maybe better to play with people that you know. The social deduction group is probably be great playing this as well. It's a quick, fun game.
It is very quick.
And we have this. This is also Essen pickup, Friedemann Phrase, which I met at Essen. And this is Freaky Frogs from Outer Space. This is a solo pinball game.
Yes, this one is a deck hand management, deck destruction game. This is, of course, not the first pinball game that was out. WizKids had their Roll and Write pinball game out a couple of years ago.
Basically,
so
the board.
This is a different twist on it. Who thought we would ever be comparing solo pinball games of different styles like this?
Yeah, is that solo? Oh, it can be solo, that one.
Yeah, side by side. Very much side by side.
Yes. So that was the board, and the rule book, and the cards, and the scoring. So you basically, this is like a card-driven hand management game.
Yes. So you will have your hands. The pinball table has roll lanes, bumpers, and drop targets, and you have to remember where your ball is moving around the table, and you play cards in sequences, and they go out into a display. And then when you're done with a sequence, your card, the imaginary ball rolls down to the flippers. You have to play a flipper to send them back up. And as you're going through, you've got to avoid getting, if you get 3 of the lost cards in your hand, you either have to play some flippers to save the ball and get more lost cards into your deck, or your ball rolls off. And then there's also out lanes. You can use saves to get that. So there's a couple of different combinations that you're trying to get.
There you go, the double, what do you call it?
Double flipper.
Double flippers.
But every time you play a card, it tells you to draw more cards.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it works. You're constantly bringing more cards into play and trying to keep a safe combination.
Yes, indeed.
So there's some stuff in here, much like WizKids one. There's some stuff in here that feels very pinball-y. And kind of when you're playing pinball, you want to get on a roll and create multipliers and do lots of things on the same ball, and that's how you get lots of points. And this game does have that kind of feel, because the more drop targets you hit, the more multiplier you get, and you can end up getting...
Somebody fell in the kitchen.
Dropped things, not...
Drop things. Speaking about dropping.
And you can end up getting multipliers and getting multi-ball, and that kind of makes things snowball and spiral. So that's it. I reckon this one has probably more of a genuine pinball feel about it in that way.
Tarrant played this more than me.
Yeah. But I do also think that the WizKids one was a little bit more interesting and a little more tactical and strategical with the way that you are trying to build up points in specific combos, and because there's lots of different maps for that one as well, lots of different boards, I think it gives you that extra replayability. Supercade pinball, super skilled pinball Falcke, I think.
Oh yes, called. Yes. Thanks, Darren.
But interestingly, there's a bit of rules to learn here. But as a solitaire game, because you don't get that many true card-based solitaire games that you can just kind of sit down and play out cards the way you always used to with a deck of playing cards in the past. I think what is nice about this one though is, I think back to growing up and playing solitaire games with a deck of cards and just being able to play them and play them over and just see how you go. This one does have that feel, which very few other hobby games, even hobby solo games, have. So many hobby solo games have big setup and breakdown and AI and all that sort of thing. This is just kind of, the cards will roll out and you'll end up with a score. So it's pretty good that way. It has I think it does have a unique feel.
Is it a chill, kind of like a chilled game as well? It's a puzzle. It's a puzzle that you need to solve depending what the cards come out, which combination you play, trying to score as much as possible. And the recommended score was what, 100,000 or something?
You want to try to get hundreds of thousands, like 100,000 points. Yeah, but I think it is, the decision space is not that big. It makes it a good little mindless solitaire.
Yeah, indeed. That is Freaky Frogs. And speaking about the rulebook, you mentioned rulebook before. It is kind of like deceiving a small box. The rulebook is quite thick for a game like this. It's actually not that hard.
It's not that hard once you've played it through a couple of times, but there's a number of just little things to commit to memory.
Specific, yeah. So a few specific things in here.
I would actually say that out of everything in this pile, other than Arborea, it's probably got the second most rules to learn.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, so the general order is World War II. It's by Osprey Games. We have not played this yet.
Yep.
You've read it? So.
I have read it. This is it's a little war game, as Osprey will tend to do. They're very much into their Euro inspired war games. So this one is a little 2-player back and forward. It's got a little hex grid which kind of works like a light. It is a worker placement. It's a competitive worker placement.
Yes.
In some areas, so yeah.
And you probably have played this. Yeah, I played it. I picked it up at Essence. So let us know if you have played this, what you think of it. I had really good things about this. It's a attack a wall, like a 2-player worker placement game. So a bit fun. Is that right, Tarrant?
Yes.
So this is a buffet boss by Origame.
Yep. This is
from PAX Australia.
Yes, it is a dexterity. It's a dexterity balance.
Yes.
With a little bit of tactics involved in there. It's quite, all of this is quite clever. So you've got it feels relatively simple. You will draft cards. Each card will correspond to a wooden food piece, which you then have to stack on
like
its own little wooden piece. There's sort of an image there.
Yeah.
And you'll be building that up. And after 7 rounds, you score points based on all the things that stayed stacking. That's a very high stakes thing to do. Yeah, there's pool.
Yeah, there's pool. Oh, no. It fell to my hand.
You score points on all the things
Yes.
that are still stacking, and you'll have in-game scoring objectives, and you choose from 2 in your hand, and they'll give you more points for certain types of food or certain ways of stacking.
Which is fine. I think this is fine.
Yeah. Now the game is, I think it is perfectly timed because you've got enough
And balanced. No puns intended.
It's it does have balance to it, and it's like the more difficult ones to stack will score you more points. But it starts to get very hard to keep together at the end of the game. After 7 rounds and maybe a bonus food if you've tried to place it, you're going to have to have done a very good job and probably a well planned out job to actually make it stack. So the game ends exactly as it gets difficult to do the stacking. So I think it's really clever in that way.
There's a lot of other clever things like, if you are, it's a drafting, say at the multiple rounds until all the cards are gone, and each round there are cards to draft, 1 more cards than the number of player. So the last player has got the options of gaining all the cards, which is 2, right? And you think at the start, oh, that's good. But then towards the end, how much more I can fit? If you have too much, everything will fall. Yeah. And then you have these 3-second rules that you can grab and then put back. But still,
you lose half of what fell down.
Yes,
as well, so
yes, that's true.
Never to return.
That's a great balance thing, right?
Yeah.
The one that I've seen so far that's stacked the best is my niece Kayla.
She had a very impressive stack.
Yeah.
Yes, it was big pieces.
I'll show you. Yeah. She's just full on competitive and really want to win that one, and then really slowly stacking it with one hand.
Yeah, your first game had a really good stack as well because you had a bonus objective related to pieces only touching one other piece.
Yeah.
So I thought you were crazy with this single stack that you built
Single
up.
stack on the left, on the right.
It worked for your objective. It worked
That's
very
true.
well.
That's true. Yes. So this is a fun one by Boardgame. So
Yes.
check that out. Hike. Now, this is it's quite intuitive. I've never seen anything quite like it, and it's fun. So it's just one of the game that is being done by two parts. So first part of the game, you draft the cards. Second part of the game, you're doing the sled race.
Yeah, it's what's a game that's like that?
Jaws.
Jaws is a little, yeah. Jaws has
There are
the
two
two
parts.
halves.
Yeah.
There's
Let us know what other games that there are two parts where you do certain things, like completely different things at the start, and then
where you build up something and then you
Yes.
race them. I mean, I guess it's kind of like
I feel like I've played this. I just can't. think of
I can't
Bali
pick it.
brain.
It's like if you did all of the drafting in Steampunk Rally first, and then you
Yes.
went and raced with it. But in that one, of course, it's back and forward. So this is, it's a simple little race. So there's a track that has 3 different types of snow. You're sled dog racing here. So there's snow, powder, and ice. And in the first half of the game, you're drafting cards to make a set of 8 sled dogs, or 6 at a higher player count.
Yeah.
And as you're drafting them, you're trying to get the combinations of cards which will work as you move across the track, because you can only spend each dog on your turn. Each dog can be spent once, and all of its movements have to be expended at once. So you need to get combinations which are going to work for the entire track. The track is getting released as you're drafting, so the more information you get later, the better you'll be able to curate your deck. And then as you're putting them together, you can see these dogs have green
Colours.
and red colours. It's a very simple tile placement puzzle, but it's one you have to match. So you have to.
It's like 2 by 4 or 2 by 3.
Yeah, you end up in a 2x4
row.
grid.
There you go.
And then as you keep them in the same grid, you can sometimes get cards which will flip that row of dogs back together. So it's a simple draft. It can be a little top decky, we found, but there's still enough things to think about for where you place, how quickly you race ahead to place, because you get other bonuses if you race ahead.
That's right.
You can get equipment cards. Those can be saved up to get over specific difficult terrains or to make some dogs more powerful. I reckon it is. There's a few things to pick up at the start. From a rules explanation standpoint, if I were to bring this out cold in a meetup, it would be, as a filler, it would be a little bit too
More
much.
complex.
Yeah, it would be a little more complex than I'd like to explain as a first time filler, but as a second time filler, it's something you could get out and play through really quickly. And so I think it hits a really good point there. Mm-hmm. It's by a team out of Slovenia, which is cool. I don't think
They're gonna have. It was a very
so-
successful Kickstarter, and it was an Essen pickup, and they have another game coming. So by the way, it's like just to show that this is actually a real pool. I don't know if you can hear the water. I'm a bit hot. I'm gonna just jump into the pool. Bye. Kidding. See, it's really cool. Look. So it is very high stakes. So we'll see how we go.
the stack is not as tall as it was anymore, so the chance of it toppling into the ocean is now much less.
I'll probably jump to the pool first before board game falls. So if it falls, I'll fall first, head on first. Not really. But anyways, this is Tokaido Duo.
Yes.
This is a dual version, so 2 players version of Tokaido, which is a well-loved game. The normal version plays up to whatever, 4? I can't remember. It's been a while since I played the original one.
Yeah, certainly the gameplay of this is, it's certainly got the same aesthetic as Tokaido and the same theme.
Yes.
Doesn't play very much like it, I didn't feel.
Yeah, it's not really the same. I will show some photos of our games, but please excuse it. It will be probably on our bed. We're playing when we're kind of like staying in bed and being sick.
Yeah.
All right, please continue.
Yeah, so this is, because the original Tokaido,
It looks like a bit like that.
it does have the same aesthetic.
Yeah.
The original Tokaido I still haven't come up with the proper name for the mechanism. It's like the Heaven and Ale draft and the Lignum draft, where you can move as far forward as you want, but the further forward you move, the fewer turns you get. Nothing like that.
Oh, like Paris, where you can go get the bonus. You can go further, but you can't go back.
Yeah. In this one, you have 3, so it's completely different. You've got 3 different types of meeples who move in different ways across the track. So one moves clockwise around the board, one moves in and out along this centipede-shaped path, and one
Of your system.
one can jump around in any order in these white areas. And each turn 3 dice get rolled, one corresponding to each, and the dice numbers will roll up a movement range. And you, the first player chooses one and takes that action, the second player chooses one and takes that action, and the first player gets the remaining action. And they are all mandatory actions. You wander around the board and you're trying to, you've got a merchant who goes and picks up, in the central ones, picks up wares and then sells them on the side for money, gets points through money. I almost hit that and flipped it into the water. That would have been very sad.
Yes, Ferris. Where's?
On the outer track, you're trying to get, each time you land on a red or a green, you advance a red or green track, and then you multiply those 2 at the end of the game. And there's a couple other bonuses out there. And then the artist who moves on these spaces gets to flip over painting tiles when in proximity with other players, and then needs to go to the matching space to get rid of them and gets points for getting rid of those paintings.
So this will be filled up with paintings, so you flip it as you get proximity to other players, and when you deliver it to the right place and you put it away, and then you score the points that's uncovered.
Yeah. It's a simple little game. It gives you, you've always got the 3 choices. I think at a 2-player game,
It's always 2 players.
Yeah, because it's 2 players, you may naturally end up in this state where like one player specializes on each and then you're competing on the third one.
Yeah.
But each of your objectives gets more powerful as you go along. So there's always an incentive to stop the other player from doing
It's like Azul,
their
right?
best one.
Yeah. I mean, it's like hate draft.
Yeah, there's a big aspect
hate draft, of it. And then you see other players. Sorry, you go.
Oh yeah. And it's always, the movement range is fixed and precise, so you have to move exactly what's on the dice without leaving your opponent an option which is less beneficial for them. Pretty simple decisions. I didn't find it particularly strategic from a long-term outlook standpoint.
I think it is pretty strategic. No, you have to be tactical. You can start strategically, but then you gotta have to respond to your opponents. If you see your opponents, okay, they're trying to generalize. I feel like if you generalize too much and your opponent's trying to specialize too much, and you just like getting away and not getting the points, because if you specialize, you get the more points, right? But you can't always specialize. Now this is where you need to steal the dice from your opponents. If you see they specialize too much and then you steal it, so they can't really keep doing the same thing. If they generalize, then that's fine. You be specializing, or just see what opportunity knocks.
Yep.
I like the dice draft.
Yeah, I think it was. For me it was a clever idea, but because the decisions, there weren't that many decisions.
Right.
I kind of found each decision, let's say, not very strategic. Each decision was kind of there in front of you and wasn't that challenging. So I found it a pretty light game.
All right, that's fair. I quite enjoy it. It's kind of like a light. I would say it's a filler game.
It's very much a 2-player filler.
Yeah, 2-player filler, easy to do and easy to play. It's not really a big footprint, and then it's a good travel game.
Yep.
Tokaido Duo. I keep saying Duo. Now, Ticket to Ride Berlin. There are so many versions of Ticket to Ride, right?
And we haven't played a lot of them. We're not aficionados of Ticket to Ride.
But we have played the original.
Play the original.
Europe, America, and then the Legends.
The Legacy.
Legends 1. And there's this one. And this is actually the most brutal 2-player Ticket to Ride I've ever played. In 2 players. I mean, compared to the normal one.
Yeah, so the hook with this game...
It's so bad. It's so bad. Yeah, sorry.
It's a small map.
Take it.
It's a small map, and it has 2 types of trains on it. So it's got a subway that runs around the outside, and then it's got streetcars which run through the middle. And the subway, each of the routes requires 2, 3 or 4. Oh, there it is. So each of the routes requires 2, 3 or 4 cards. 2, 3 or 4? That's upside down.
Oh, sorry.
We'll edit that.
No, I don't.
So each of the subway routes requires 1, 2 or 3 cards, the way a normal route would. You only put down 1 piece, and then
There's a guitar.
a guitar pick.
It's,
Yeah,
it's so cute. All the money and all the thematic thing. Anyways, keep going.
The middle ones work the same way as they always do. Very limited in pieces. You've only got 11 streetcars and 5 subways.
Very small.
And so that means it's going to be a quick game. It's probably not the quickest Ticket to Ride we've played. Are we allowed to talk about Legends of the West yet?
Yes, we do, but
We are?
but not the one that's hidden in the box.
Okay, you will learn. You'll learn very quickly.
Probably.
The first episode of Legacy is a very short one. You only have 20 trains or 22 trains, I think. So this is only very slightly longer than that. And
But there are 2 different ones, 2 different
But there are 2
limited
different
ones, so it
types.
makes it even like limited.
Yeah, so what I find, firstly with Ticket to Ride, I do kind of like it to be a little bit longer. I don't think the short ones are for me. They're just kind of over and done way too quickly.
But I think it's better in 3 players because it's very brutal in 2 players.
Yeah, you can very
Or 4
quickly...
players. 3 players is the best number.
Yeah, because you're quite limited in, you have to do 5 trains around the outside and 11 carriage pieces in the middle. The routes you get early on, you really have to carefully plan how you're going to make them work. You don't have the same flexibilities that you do in the bigger board and the longer game.
Yeah.
And that makes it, particularly at 2 players where each of the double routes can only be used once, really quick and brutal.
Really quick and brutal.
Almost too quick and brutal, really. I kind of felt that as a 2-player game, we got our routes,
Objective,
and it was like, all right, there's only really a couple of ways that I can make these routes work, and whether you got them or not was over and done so quickly.
Yeah, and then I kept trying to go there, and then Tarrant blocks it this way, not consciously, obviously. And then I was trying to achieve too much and not enough trains. I realized that I actually don't have enough trains to complete this because this was blocked. I have to go around. That means that I don't have enough trains. And what is it called? The other one?
The streetcars?
The streetcars, only 5. So you gotta have
the
the
subways are only 5, sorry.
Sorry, the subways has got only 5, and you have to make sure you have enough subways, because in the basic one you're almost like, whatever, I have enough, I have a lot, you just count how many, but then this one you have to really count how many you have.
You're always going to find, as long as people don't block off like every route into a city in basic Ticket to Ride, you're always going to find a way there. And then Europe gives you the stations so you can get there as well anyway. But in this one, your pathway, there's not endless pathways to get there because you have to do half of the trains of each type.
So brutal.
Yeah.
I can't believe
this one, I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest, from a Ticket to Ride standpoint.
This is for fans, I think, not for beginners.
It certainly puts a lot more emphasis on that planning and makes things a lot less flexible.
And a lot of, maybe if you're very strategic to it, then that's okay, because I played it one time very expecting it's going to be the original Ticket to Ride. No, it's not. But there are a few of those as well. Anyway, let us know if you have played the other version, because I want to know what's the difference. Like this one, in this one there's no longest route. Each route will give you points, for example, and the rest is the subway. And that's the difference in this version.
Yep.
Okay.
Featherweight Fiesta.
Ta-da!
It's almost a little too
cool.
windy to bring this one out of the box, I
It's
think.
actually true.
Do we have some footage
I have
of
some
our...
footage,
okay,
yes.
well, you're showing your footage of our earlier games. So this is
in our bed again when we were sick. So I can show this, but not the rest.
Yeah, we're going to start losing pieces very quickly.
Yeah, the box is actually part of the game. You can't do
Put
that,
this
Tarrant.
on like that?
No.
No, it's not going to
Sorry, too big. So this is this is the box and also part of the game. So you can see here, there's something here where you're basically putting it side by side. This is also part of the game. And you will put up electrical pole onto the sides of the box. So 1, 2, 3, like so, something like that.
Yes, and these are springy elastic, and you can make them more or less springy.
Drink.
What's interesting with this game, so it's either competitive or cooperative. There's different rules for each, and it is.
Would you like to hold these two, please? I can. Quick. Well, it's not windy.
It's all tangled. Yeah.
That's okay. Like this. Like this. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yay! And then. Okay, this is a high stake. Let's just put it near you. Okay, I got it. Now let's just get the bigger one. And what is this tangle thing? Yeah, okay. There you go. You can see that this is windy, and this will fly to. Yeah. Okay, like that. Something.
This is
like
why we have footage from earlier.
Yes.
So. What we've just demonstrated, and what is very visible about this game, is not really a true reflection of the game. So interestingly, this is, I would call it, a tile placement game with a dexterity finale. It's really what it is. There's 24 unique birds. Each of them has a size, a color, and a species, I guess. So 4, 3, and 2. There's 24 unique ones, and there's a whole lot of what's called selfie cards. I'm very worried about this window.
That's okay, I'm looking for it. I'm more worried about the camera being blown away, but nothing has moved, so that's okay.
So, and on the telephone poles, you're trying to create combinations. You're basically, each turn you're taking a bird and you're putting it on a pole, and you can also move one from a wire to another wire.
You're taking selfie thematically, yeah.
Yeah, and you're trying to make certain combinations in a row or combinations of birds next to telephone poles in order to score those cards. And in the competitive game, you've got your own cards. You're trying to score as many of those as possible, and you can move things around. In the cooperative mode, you're collectively trying to score all of your cards, but you can only use your phone 6 times. You've got 6 phone tokens, and so you've got to set things up so that you've completed like 3 or 4 of them at once, and then you spend your phone token and you score those cards and then replace them. You can only do that 6 times. That's the basic part of the game. Then once you've reached the end of that part and all the birds are up on the wires, then it becomes the dexterity finale, where you are trying to flick the birds off the wires such that exactly 1 remains on the wire. And if you can, there's 4 wires, you can keep doing all that flicking until until each wire has either succeeded or failed. And if you are the one who leaves a single bird on a wire, then you get extra points. And that's fundamentally the twist on it, and the flourish, the finale. And I think it works quite well.
I think it has different feeling from the competitive and cooperative. The cooperative is one of those limited communication. It's hard to judge, but you kind of like once you play, you kind of know, or you can have a look at the objectives, what kind of cards that might be, well, that are available and might be in your fellow players' hands, and then you're trying to see, okay, Tarrant might have this card, maybe I should not move this bird away because he's trying to achieve this card. So we're trying to complete that as efficient as possible, right? That's the idea.
Or some other card will come up later, you know which cards there are, so you don't know how long you've got to wait, but you can kind of prepare for it.
Yeah.
And you've got a limited number of moves. So yeah, I kind of got I got decorum vibes as we were playing, because that's kind of a puzzle of colours and shapes and getting them into specific places. So it's kind of a simple decorum, and then it's just got that very cute flourish on the end, which kind of is irrelevant to most of the game, but it gives it a great table presence, and it's a nice little hook.
It is, and while competitive, it feels like you need to it's like, obviously it's competitive, it's playing against each other. Like, I really want to do that. It's like the same thought, the same mindset, and then put into competitive. So you're still probably trying to guess what the opponent's objectives are, and then trying to, you know, stop them from achieving that.
Yes, disrupt them while scoring your own.
Yes, and it was like, okay, you remember what's been scored, and then that means that person might have that. You know, it's kind of like the reverse, so different feeling, but kind of like the same as well.
Yep, and in that one you've got the choice to pick cards of certain difficulties as well. So pick a more difficult one. Not only is it harder to complete, but it's easier to disrupt.
Yeah, indeed.
So high stakes.
For sure.
And that brings us to the last one in the pile, the heaviest one in the pile as well, Arborea.
Yes.
Essen release, I think.
Yes,
Relatively
Essen
big
release.
Essen
I mean,
release.
people, originally from Kickstarter, people can pick it up from Essen.
Yep. Yeah, very, very high on shared incentive. You're building your own little personal network of
Vendetta.
cards, which is your private thing, but everything out on the main board is shared, which, you know, I'm always looking for games with interaction. So
Highly.
So you've got tracks that you put your meeples on, and then you've got to wait until many people have used those tracks before you can step off. It's kind of like Sulkin, where the longer you wait, the more powerful it is. Well, it's not quite as precisely timed as Sulkin. It's got a market of resources where the resources are owned by everyone or can be spent by everyone, but the points are gained by whoever adds them. There are creatures that get added to a market and you get benefits, and then you take them from the market and score them. I think so. It's all very interlocking like that, which is good. I like to see that, because I do sometimes tire of the games where you're pretty much
Do your own
multiplayer
thing.
solitaring and
Which
you've
is
got
not your
almost
type of
free
game.
choice.
Yeah.
This one has interaction, which I find quite fascinating.
Which is actually probably better in high play counts in that matter, because it's less predictable maybe.
I think there'll be
Thank you.
we haven't played every player count. I think there'll be an interesting balance where it goes up to 5 players. I think some of the fear there'll be, because of the way the interaction works. I'd have to explain the game in more detail for that, but I think there'll be, not that there's too much interaction, but I think the fear of not being interacted with will go down in some areas and up in others.
I think my dad just opened a packet of chips or something. I can hear it inside, like, and then outside it was like this is it. This is what happened, right? This is outdoor filming.
Yes.
Sorry, people.
Yeah. No, I think the way I think I can summarize it as the ways that the different mechanisms will interact at higher player counts will vary, and therefore you'll get quite a different experience. And there'll be different things that are powerful versus not powerful at different player counts.
It's very it's like one of those you finish playing and then you'll be like, damn it, I haven't played this, I haven't done this one, I have not completed this one yet. Is that it? Is that all?
Yeah, it came through. It was
Because this is very quick at the end.
It was relatively quick. It was a little quicker when we first played. It kind of you didn't get anywhere near as much done as you thought you would.
And after
but
that
you can
don't,
see, but you can see
You can
the end
see-
coming, so you can prepare for that.
Yes, that is true. And those are the games. Tell us what games you've been playing, everyone. This is holiday games for us. We try to go to Bali twice a year and then stream from here, and still trying to do work because I love it. I mean, like, oh, are you crazy? You're traveling and then do playing. I love it, you know. Any of these games you think interesting? Let us know. Is any of these you would bring for traveling? Sorry, I was like, I tried to close it before it flies to the pool.
Yeah, that's true. We did go very.
It was quite
We
windy.
went high stakes on that one.
Yeah, well, nothing else fell. Now we can we'll finish with the review. We can throw everything in the pool.
Yep.
And
If we'd
that
planned
is
ahead
okay.
and had like spare versions of these boxes, we could do that.
So what else are you going to do in Bali, Tarrant?
Oh, we've still got some restaurants and food to encounter. We've still got. What else have we got? Any more fun? We've been to the safari.
Yeah, we're not really the, I don't know, the party type. Obviously, like look at us, we are not young anymore.
Yes, we're not.
That young.
We're not on the.
Actually, even though I was younger, I never been much into the party drinking scene. So
Yeah, we're not going to be bringing these to the bars of Cootha tonight or anything like that.
yes, we went to a Bali safari where Tarrant fought the crocodile and won.
Well, these photos show you how realistic that statement is.
We didn't even bother removing the tag on the crocodile, the plushie, unfortunately. So it was great. And then Tarrant was convinced that the zoo, the Bali safari, was up over. And I was like, that kiosk, what did you say about the kiosk?
There were kiosks everywhere.
Yeah.
They were definitely not all 3 hexes apart. There was pretty much something selling things every time you turned a corner.
Yep.
So that was against the rules of Ark Nova.
Absolutely.
But there were animals that I've only otherwise seen in Ark Nova, and there is a strangely enough, there is a marine world under construction at Bali Safari. A little blue box off to the side still under construction, so they're very much in line with the Ark Nova expansion experience.
Tarrant totally convinced after that. It was like, oh, that's not kiosk. Oh, this enclosure was on this. It's totally like Ark Nova. And this one here, and then we walked somewhere, and then we found underwater marine expansion soon to be open. Like, yeah, this is definitely Ark Nova with the marine worlds.
But yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, it has been a while since I've been to a zoo and recognised that all the scientific and public and all the things that Ark Nova has are a lot more thematic than I remembered. So yeah, good on them for that.
Yeah, that's very good. Where else did we go? Just food and drinks, and then catching up with family and going to get food again. I think food.
Yeah, you come here for food and family.
Okay, we are back after the battery ran out. Now we're ready to buy this food outside that this hawker is selling around the house.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Bali.
Indeed.
Have you been to Bali? Have you been to Bali? I mean, before me, you haven't been to Bali, have you?
I had not. No, I never did the Australian party tourist thing of coming to Bali. That is a post you thing.
Boardgame's also post me.
No.
Oh yeah, okay.
Obsession with board games.
Obsession. Oh yes. Post me. So it is getting better as well here in terms of getting around. It used to be, there's not Uber, but they have the thing called Go Car. It's a Go Car. So it's like Uber where you can order food, you can order transportation, you can order grocery and things like that. But the payment system is different. You can put your credit cards and so on. Yep. It's getting better.
Yes, and you can go on the scooter or in the car, I think. Is that correct?
Yes. You can choose scooter as well. Like this Go Scooter, I can't remember what it's called. You can choose a scooter, or there's a comfort version. I'm like, how would the comfort scooter version be? You know how if you go to Uber, right? You order Uber, you go to Uber, and Uber Comfort is called, or something like that, the more comfortable version of it.
Yep. More
luxury version. So what's the scooter more luxury version be then?
Better suspension, wider cushion, maybe.
And a better handle on the driver.
Maybe.
I don't know. More cushion on the driver. Maybe not.
But in any case, that is we are not going on the scooters. We are staying in the shell of a car.
Yeah,
I feel much more comfortable there.
A lot of people actually do it. A lot of tourists actually go on a scooter, but it's just like, it's not us. No, we're like, I used to ride motorbike, but it doesn't mean that I trust other people riding the motorbike for me without the shell of the car.
That said, I've not seen any traffic accidents. I've seen a lot of what appears to be disorganized chaos, but there's obviously a level of order and understanding to the traffic which is not apparent to me on the surface. But essentially, well, the way I see it is that there's no such thing as a stop sign or a give way sign. You basically just slowly push your way into traffic and everyone lets you.
Yeah.
So it is a slow-paced journey of everyone just letting themselves in and barging through.
If you treat it like traffic in Indonesia, you'll be waiting at the intersection forever. No one's gonna get you in. You have to make yourself, you butt in and then just get in, basically.
Yeah. But the speed, even the biggest roads, you're only ever going 60.
Yeah,
so
it's just not like a lot of traffic.
60 Ks, so it's never fast enough to be a problem.
Bye, plane. Say goodbye, Tarrant. Somewhere. So visit us in Bali if you want. I will edit this and then maybe I'll edit it once I'm back. I don't know yet. Hopefully you have an awesome day and enjoy your day, and I will now go into the pool. Bye, Tarrant. Bye. Not really fully.